I have long been a critic of the WTO. The WTO was created during the late 80s, early 1990s, when this sort of neoliberal philosophy, which gave most of the privileges to capital and to investors, it was there. But in a certain sense, the WTO at its core is really the long-standing general agreement on trade and tariffs, the GATT, which for 40 or 50 years not only set tariffs between countries, but which establishes the principle of non-discrimination amongst trading partners and establishes the principle that all trading partners who are members of the WTO should be treated like the most favored nation, so that nobody is discriminated against. That basic principle, in spite of the many bad neoliberal rules that were added on during the negotiations to create the WTO, that basic set of trade relationships is important. It's, I think, particularly important for low-income and lower middle-income countries that really need to export. They may not like the exact balance of trading rights in the GATT, but they know what the rules are. They know that they have that market access, and it's important to their own ability to develop and to grow and to create jobs and take care of their citizens. So I think that in this current atmosphere of geopolitical rivalry, it's important to preserve that space where there's a level of predictability or certainty, particularly for low and lower middle income countries. Now, is there any possibility of a meeting of the minds between developing and developed countries there? I would have said 3 or 4 years ago, before the pandemic, I don't see it. I don't see any good possibilities. I think the WTO will just limp along. But now, during the pandemic, the US and many European countries and other countries engaged in massive creation of subsidies to keep their public afloat, to keep their health systems afloat. And so the arguments that the developed countries had against China about subsidies, well, they've become more like China instead of China becoming more like them. And so it seems to me that there is some possibility for some convergence. The developing countries, the emerging market countries, always wanted more policy space. They didn't like the idea of these neoliberal rules which said that you have to protect intellectual property, you have to have capital mobility, et cetera. And so I think with the shifts that came about as a result of the pandemic, one can imagine that the East-West, North-South tensions could be reduced in spite of this broader sort of hegemonic big power rivalry, that one could find an area of consensus where at least some of the imbalance of rules in the WTO could be reformed with some kind of global coalition. Even without it, I think that predictability and that relative stability that the basic tariff schedule offers is an important thing for a reliable point in a world which is very uncertain now.